This is how Dr. Nkrumah received the news of the coup that overthrew him. As we celebrate his birthday, let's remember this. Okay. He said the word coup should not be used to describe what took place in Ghana on 24th February 1966. On that day, Ghana was captured by traitors among the army and the police who were inspired and helped by neo-colonialists and certain reactionary elements among our own population. It was an act of aggression, an invasion planned to take place in my absence and to be maintained by force. Seldom in the history has a more cowardly and criminally stupid attempt been made to destroy the independence of a nation. When the action took place, I was on my way to Hanoi at the invitation of President Ho Chi Minh with proposals for ending the war in Vietnam. I had almost reached Peking, the farthest point in my journey. The cowards who seized power by force of arms behind my back knew they did not have the support of the people of Ghana, and therefore thought it safe to wait until I was only out of the country, but well beyond the ranges of a quick return. The news was brought to me by the Chinese ambassador in Accra, who had gone on ahead to Peking to meet me and to be with me during my visit to China. He had just accompanied Prime Minister Chu Enlai, Liu Xiaoliu, and other officials when they welcomed us at the airport, and he had come straight out to the government house where I was staying. I remember his exact words. Mr. President, I have bad news. There has been a coup d'etat in Ghana. I was taking a brief rest after the long flight from Rangoon and wondered if I had heard him correctly. What did you say? A coup d'etat in Ghana? Okay. Impossible, I said. But yes, it is possible. These tongues, okay, I can't see that. They are in the nature of the revolutionary struggle. I learned later that the Chinese welcoming party had known about the events in Ghana when I stepped from the aircraft at Peking, but with characteristic courtesy, they waited to break the news to me privately. Okay, my first reaction was to return immediately to Accra. If the VC-10 of Ghana Airways, in which we had traveled most of the way, had been at Peking, I would have embarked at once. But we had left it behind at Rangoon and had continued to Peking in an aircraft sent by the Chinese government. I knew that to avoid unnecessary bloodshed, I would have to be back in Ghana within 24 hours, and this was clearly impossible. I decided, therefore, to make an immediate statement to the Ghanaian people and to fight back on African soil just as soon as my host could make the necessary travel arrangements. What had happened in Ghana was no more than a tactical setback in the African revolutionary struggle of a type which I had often predicted. At the very first conference of the Organization of African Unity in Addis Ababa, I had warned my fellow heads of state that none of us was safe if we remained disunited. For this reason, I considered that the overall strategy remained unchanged, but what had happened in Ghana made it all the more necessary to press on by revolutionary means to secure a united Africa. The following is the text of the statement released to the press. Quote, on my arrival in Peking, my attention has been drawn to reports from press agencies which allege that some members of Ghana Armed Forces, supported by some members of the police, have attempted to overthrow my government, the government of the Convention People's Party. I know that the Ghanaian people are always loyal to me, the party and the government, and all I expect of everyone at this hour of the trial is to remain calm but firm in the determination and resistance. Officers and men in the Ghana Armed Forces who are involved in this attempt are ordered to return to their barracks and wait for my return. I am the constitutional head of the Republic of Ghana and the supreme commander of the Ghana Armed Forces. I am returning to Ghana soon. I followed this up with a cable to all Ghanaian embassies. Wow, Nkrumah was very strong, eh? He was sending cable even after he had been told that he had been overthrown. Okay, he sent the cable as follows to the embassies. Be calm and remain firm at your post. Send all messages and reports to me through the Ghana Embassy Peking and repeat not through Accra until further notice. Wow. He continued. As I discussed the news from Ghana with the 22 officials accompanying me, among them Alex Kwesi-Nsaki, the foreign minister, Kwesi Ama, minister of trade, F.M. Dean, an ambassador extraordinaire in charge of African affairs at the Secretariat, J.E. Bosman, ambassador to the United Kingdom, F.R. Kest, Ghana's permanent representative at the United Nations. I was somewhat disappointed to note their reaction. At a time like this, I would have expected them to show courage and fortitude, but most of them were frightened. Kwesi Saki, for example, developed diarrhea and must have visited the lavatory about 20 times that day. Oh, Kwesi Saki. Oh. Their obvious dismay was in striking contrast to the calmness and courage of the 66 other personnel, the security officers and members of my personal secretariat. These were men. Compared with them, the politicians were old women. Okay. With Alex Kwesi Saki, I will deal with later. Kwesi Ama settled down in London, where it appeared that he had considerable funds of money available to him. The rebel regime, on the basis of this, attempted to have him extradited on the grounds that he had stolen the money in question. His many trials before the English courts exposed at least the falsity of the allegation which these authorities had made. I am glad that he was acquitted, since I am sure that the particular charges made against him were false. Nonetheless, I believe that he brought his misfortune upon himself by failing to take a positive political stand. His various court cases, however, prove the nonsense contained in many of the allegations of corruption against my government. Enoch Okun and Michael Dayanan were old British trained civil servants. They had made their way up through the colonial structure. They had been among my most trusted officials, but they chose to return to Ghana, presumably in the hope that they will be accepted by the counter-revolutionaries. Enoch Okun, as the head of civil service and as the person who knew, therefore, which promotions had been made and why, was treated with leniency and was appointed to be in charge of the State Housing Corporation. Since the new regime did not have any intention to build houses for the people, this was perhaps the appropriate punishment for his desertion. Wow, that's strong language from the Osajifo. Michael Dayanan was not so treated, and much to his surprise, he was thrown into prison. Fred Arkest, after his treachery, returned to his former position at the United Nations, but was eventually removed by the NLC, who could not trust someone who had at least ability. Wow. Nkrumah said the NLC could not trust anybody with ability. Naturally, all of us were anxious about the safety of our families in Ghana. But I suppose the official members of the party were also thinking about their bank accounts and their property. It is said that a man's heart lies with his treasure. But even allowing for the fact that they had more to lose than other personnel, I still find it hard to understand how they could have lost grip of themselves so easily. It was as though they had put their hands up in the first whiff of danger. That is all very interesting. That is all very, very interesting. And that's because of lack of time, we can't read all well. It's captured at the preamble of the book, The Dark Days in Ghana. Is written by Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. Next week, Tuesday, I'll share a bit more with you in terms of the counter-analysis to the motion of destiny.